right. Hopefully we're live. Allegedly we're live, but because I set this up as a scheduled live stream, it said, you have to click go live to make it work. And I said, okay. And then I clicked go live to make it work, and then it said, no, no, that was incorrect. Please wait a few seconds, and then try again. So I did, and that seems to have worked. So I'm hopeful that we're live. Hello. Wonderful. I asked before the live stream if people would like to share either their favorite ever after quote or the number of items currently on their desk that shouldn't really be on their desk. The number of items currently on my desk that shouldn't be has gone down from 6 to 0, but that was slightly cheating because directly behind my desk I now have an IKEA pegboard with a bunch of things, you know, shelves and baskets and whatever, which is specifically for all of the tat which normally lives on my desk, but the desk is too small really to hold it, so that's where we are. Welcome. There is a 19-second delay. Fair enough. If each sheet of paper counts, then it's like 100. Fair enough. I don't think individual sheets of paper count unless they're all different. Like if, you know, you wouldn't say that a notebook was the 100 individual sheets of paper, right? Anyway, hopefully I'm speaking loudly enough. I have currently only about 70% of an idea of what volume I'm actually speaking at because I can't hear much out of this ear. I went to the pharmacist yesterday and I said, I've been putting olive oil in my ear because it's blocked, and this has, well, I mean, it doesn't hurt, so that's an improvement over having an ear that's blocked and hurts, but, and they said, here, have some bicarbonate of soda drops. They will be better than the other ones. So I've been using those. And so sometimes I don't have a blocked ear, but right now I do. Nonetheless, live streaming means never being told that you're talking to yourself, even though I guess you kind of are. Anyway, stop counting at 42, as in items on your desk that shouldn't be there. Fair. Good volume. All right. Wanted to pop in and say hi. Hello. If you put it on the ground, then you're only down to you're on 4. Have you missed anything? No, but welcome to live streams with Jill, where there isn't really anything to miss because what you will have missed is some random topic of conversation that we have kind of collectively decided on. I have the last couple of months I have been doing my patron-only live streams, and they have been kind of a mess. I've ended up in my living room, wired in to the router because the Wi-Fi was so bad. So now I've got my brand new Wi-Fi and we're back in the office on the Wi-Fi and you can see me and hear me and it's wonderful. I mean, yeah, it took me a little while to figure out how to work the Wi-Fi booster or whatever. It turns out you have to you know, program it by taking it to its router and then pressing some buttons and then unplugging it from there and plugging it in where you want it to go or whatever, but here we are. Okay, the reason I just said is because I'm currently wearing this watch. This watch belongs to my daughter. It has flamingos on it, and she doesn't wear it to school, and the reason she doesn't wear it to school is because it beeps every hour, and I have been trying for the last 2 days to figure out how to stop it from doing that, but because it is a watch from Amazon, which is like super cheap, it's like, here is a 4-button watch. How do I make it stop the hourly chime? And I have watched half a dozen YouTube videos and tried all of those things, and now I'm just trying hitting 2 buttons at a time and seeing what happens, kind of thing. I don't know. See, the problem is that when you look at it, it's, this one says light in the top left, and then this one says mode in the bottom left, and this one at the top right is the start stop, and this one in the bottom right is reset. And you can make it make a beeping noise and turn off the alarm or turn on the alarm by holding down some of the buttons. And these two buttons together do something, but I don't know what. The beeping doesn't stop kids at my school. It's usually press two buttons at once. The problem is, which two buttons? And every time you go on YouTube, it says, oh, this is how to do it on your Casio watch. And then I try it. Obviously, you have to change which buttons, the position of the button you press, and then it doesn't work. Or a G-Shock. I'm like, it cost £5 on Amazon. What do I, how many combinations of two buttons are there? Yeah, that's a good point. Let's try the top two. Nope, that just turned the light on. Okay, what about the bottom two? I have no idea. Well, I'll have to wait 58 minutes to find out. What's displayed on the watch screen? The manufacturer doesn't have a website with a manual. No, because, well, maybe they do, but I can't read what's written on the back of the watch. Maybe it says J new. Maybe. You know what? It might say J new. Watch manual. Let's try that. For those of you unfamiliar, welcome to the live stream. This is often the kind of thing that ends up happening around here. Tech support with Jill's audience. Are you a graduated engineer? Yes. Does it beep during the night? Yes. Yes, it does. We just keep it in a drawer. Okay, what else does it say on the back? It says water resistant 3 ATM, or that might be a Y, or a W. And there's a star, and then it says stainless steel back. Okay. The JNU watch instructions are blah, 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 blah. Available through a dedicated setup and feature guide provided by the manufacturer, according to that, but that does not help. That does not help. But, maybe it exists, and so I will do it later. Anyway, if you hit it really hard with a 3-pound mallet, it will stop beeping. Yeah. Good morning from California. It's almost a reasonable time of day. 3 atmospheres unit of pressure. There we go. Okay, I wondered if it had something to do, because it's a little swimming person, and it says 3 ATM underneath that as well. So there we go. It says it's water resistant to 3 atmospheres, and it's got a stainless steel back, and it's JNU, and then there's a little swimming person and 3 ATM. So there you go. Time change, it was right. Okay. I am glad that you enjoyed the Sci-Fi Heroine videos. I have recently written a script for one more. The problem is that I have no idea what happens after that one. However, at least there is that one, because I finished writing them in December and then went, what happens next? It's taken me until March to work that out, so here we are. I mean, I know what's going to happen, but I don't know how we get there in terms of doing things. Anyway, is there anything on the watch screen that looks like a little bell? No. It has the... Hang on. It has the time, obviously. It has the day and PM. If you turn the alarm on, then there's a little icon that... There we go. Which is a dot with some lines coming out both sides, but there's no, like, bell one. Anyway, I've now turned the alarm back off again. At least I figured out how to do that, because that would also be a problem. Anyway, are we going to get the Sci-Fi Heroine book? Well, at the minute, you're not even getting a second series. You're getting 1 episode, maybe. I mean, my patrons will get it as soon as I've actually made it, but what happens after that? I don't know. I may figure it out or not, but we'll see. Yeah. I don't know is the best answer to that, because it is the most honest one I have. George R.R. Martin problems. Doesn't he write very specifically on an extremely old piece of technology, like a really old computer with a really old set of word processing software. Anyway, hi from Indiana. That watch is a minute faster, my phone is a minute slow. I think that the watch is just fast, you know. So many pink watches on Amazon. Yeah, yeah. It was, which watch would you like? This one. Okay. If you press and hold the buttons for the arm, it might just adjust the hourly beeper. I have been doing that, and I can make it beep once, and I can make it beep twice. But unfortunately, regardless of whether it beeps once or it beeps twice, it still beeps every hour. I think he uses a typewriter. That was Piteri. No, I'm nearly sure that George R. R. Martin uses word processing software, and that it's a very old kind of word processing software that no longer runs on basically anything. Nearly sure. I'm sure I've read that somewhere. Mind you, that is the sum total of my knowledge of George R. R. Martin, honestly. Because I've never read any of his books, and I'm probably never going to. They don't really seem like my thing. I'm glad you liked the Ever After video. Will we ever get one on Firefly? I mean, all things are possible. I have... Some of the very first videos I did were about Firefly, so possibly I'll just go back and go, you know, watch all of the old things and go, hey, I have new things to say about these now. Which happens a lot, honestly. Who knew that our... the way in which we view things changes over the years. Because I used to really like Firefly, and I think I still will, because I'm planning to rewatch it. But also, I think I will notice things that I would not have noticed 15 years ago, because I am older and more cynical. The $5 watch beeps every hour. The $6 watch lets you turn off the beeping. Good luck with beeping, thank you. Sounds more like a WordStar on DOS. Genuinely, that sounds like it's right. I do think that is the correct answer to what does George R. R. Martin write. One of the options, sorry if I missed and you've tried it already, is hold down the top left button. That's the light. But, you know, we can give it a go. And tap the bottom left button to toggle. The thing is, it already toggles, regardless of whether you hold down the light button or not. You can turn off the beeping with a £1 a month subscription. Talking about the old net. Are you into Cyberpunk at all? No, never got into that even slightly. Though I did end up Googling many cyberpunk related things in order to get... Oh, is it in here? I don't know. Okay, so Bren has 3 earpieces because... well, there was this one, which came off Amazon, I think, and cost about £3 and is, you know, is one size fits no one. And then I ordered this one. This one you have to wear, it's got like a spike, and so you wear it with your pierced ear. And then this one, it has a little clippy thing on it, and this is the one she's wearing at the minute. But I ordered one and it never came, and so I ordered this one, and then this one came, and now I have 3 things. But never mind. What can you do? Okay, I have lost things. Right. When is the next armor review video? No idea. It is a joyous occasion when you get to the point in your life when you can just go, I'm gonna make a thing. What thing? I don't know. What do I feel like making? And so they'll probably be on at some point, but I have not seen anything recently that's made me go, oh, we need to talk about that. More cynical than the young lady who did a video titled, "If in doubt, put the cute engineer in danger." That is a direct quote from Joss Whedon, though, so I don't feel like that was particularly cynical. It was literally a thing he said. I merely repeat it. Good luck with the beeping. Thank you. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on? You can't turn it off. You can't turn it off. Which is a pain. Never mind. Different earpieces for different cast members. Oh, I suppose that is a possibility. Anyway, yes, so we have so far had 10 minutes in which the internet has not died and the stream has not died, and so we are doing pretty well. All right. I do seem to have located... Oh, alarm and chime on or off. Oh. In normal display mode. All right, I'm trying this. Hang on. A, B... All right, it goes A, B, C, D when they're doing things. Right. In normal display mode, press C and D together to on and off the alarm. That's fine. In normal display mode, press B and C together to on off the hourly chime. Okay, guys, you were right. I just hadn't got the right combination. All right. If all the weak icons appear, the chime is on. If all the weak icons disappear, the chime is off. If all the weak icons appear, it's on. If all the weak icons disappear, the chime is off. Disappeared. All right. I pressed it once and they were all there, and then I pressed it again and it didn't. I mean, I have to wait for 47 minutes to figure out if I got it right or not, but thanks, guys. That's very helpful. Tech support. Have you ever seen the YouTube video, which is a Rob Paravonian's song called Tech Support for Mom and Dad? I am planning a video about the Pachelbel rent, which some of you will know, because I think it turns 20 this year. Something like that, which is something that greatly bewilders me. But I do remember that the reason I learned the Pachelbel rent, which some of you will not be familiar with, which is a terrible, terrible thing. Hang on, I'm going to... Yeah, the original video is 19 years old. Yeah, shush. There we go. Right. Look, I can post links, but the rest of you can't, because I'm special. Anyway, that turns 20 this year, and I first learned about it because a guy who hung around in the chaplaincy in the same year that I did at university. I think he was definitely Canadian, and I think his name was Kevin. But he played the guitar and he could play the entire... He did the whole thing from start to finish, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So, yes, 20 years old. Ha 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 ha. Tech support for mom and dad now, also for our children, the millennial curse. Yep. See, up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A. See, I only know the one that you could do on a Sega Mega Drive, and I never even had one of those. But you did up, down, left, right, and then A and start together, and then you could access whatever level you wanted from there, which was pretty good. But yes. I never had one of those. The first console that we had, like TV console as opposed to a Game Boy, was the original PlayStation, which we got. Technically, I think it was like my brother's Christmas present or something like that, or birthday present or whatever. But yes, I have tried playing the remastered Crash Bandicoot on the PS4, and I'm really bad at it now. I don't know if the switch to analog sticks has thrown me off, or if I just don't have the reaction time that I used to. But there is a level on the third island of the original Crash Bandicoot called Road to Nowhere, and I used to be so good at that, because basically what you do is you have to jump from thing to thing, and half of the things you land on, you immediately have to jump off again because otherwise you'll fall. And so the easiest way to do the level is just to jump, jump, run, jump. You don't stop at any point until you get to like a checkpoint or something. I used to be able to do this. Can I now? No, I cannot. No. Do you know how to adjust the time on the watch? I do, but I'm not going to because it's like 1 minute off, and you know, frankly, that's good enough for me. And that one is something that seems to, you can actually just look that up on YouTube. You're like, give me a 4-button watch, how to change the time. And then you have 3 different options, and one of them is Casio, so you don't watch that one. And then it tells you, and it's really easy. But also now I've cycled through the mode options so many times that I can, in fact, I can change the time. And it is not difficult, because I've accidentally done it, like, a lot. Anyway, except sometimes it crashed the game. A, B, B, C, C on the Sega Genesis to skip levels, except sometimes it crashed the game. What's with the dents on your YouTube plaque? This one I can also solve for you with a YouTube video, but like one of my YouTube videos. It is in fact a YouTube short, and nobody watched it. Well, I'm not saying nobody watched it. There we go. It's called I Stabbed My Silver Play Button for Science. There we go. And yes, every time I make a long video, people go, what's up with the silver play button? And I must assume that they've never seen another one of the long form videos, because it's usually, I mean, sometimes it is hidden by my head, to be fair, or my hair, but it's, I did it several years ago, because I got the silver play button. I hit 100,000 subscribers in 2020, I think. So I got it either at the end of 2020 or in 2021. And then I decided to stab it, you know, for funsies. Spring is here in Sweden. What's the weather like in the UK? It has stopped raining. It has stopped raining. It has rained, allegedly, it has rained somewhere in the UK every single day since November. And I feel like that somewhere was wherever it is I live for about 90% of the time, because I feel like it has been raining for years. But like last week, it finally stopped, and we all came out of our houses blinking and staring up at this weird blue color above our heads, and this, you know, not looking directly at the big bright thing, which we had heard tell of, but, you know, like, what is this? You know, like moles coming out of our holes. Oh, I was thinking if you could adjust the time to 1 minute before the hour, you'd only have to wait 1 minute to see if the chime is off. That, you know what, that's quite clever, actually. I should maybe do that. Okay, I can do it. So, okay. All right, we are resetting the time to. Well, to 3:58 and 55 seconds. So now we only have to wait just over a minute to find out if it beeps or not. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. Did you get the suit of armor yet? No, I have a fitting coming up this month, I hope. But yes, I'm waiting to hear back from Matthew about the state of my armor. All right. I wonder how a gold one would fare. Well, there are lots of, you know, it is not uncommon for people to have, you know, brushed gold leaf over armor. You know, for funsies. They did like their fancy colors of things. There's times in Britain when it doesn't rain. Theoretically, yes. Actually, last summer, it didn't rain for so long that my mum kept calling me, where I was, it didn't rain for so long that all of my grass kind of died. YouTube only recommends members-only videos of yours to me, which is weird. I thought I had mostly... Hang on. It changed to the R and it made no noise. We've done it. This is, you know, this is very nice. This is wonderful. I'm so happy. Now I have to change the time back to the actual time. Let's see how that goes. You'll have to give me a minute, or maybe two, but that is okay. It is not. Oops. No. We have now gone through the 24-hour clock, and we're back on the two. All right, amazing. Yay! I can see all of the little emoji things. I'm so happy. Right. Yes. As I was saying, it was so hot and dry here that my mum kept saying, "Have you cut the grass?" You know, and I went, "No, I'm not cutting the grass. It would die horribly." When we lived in Kent, I thought it was the weather forecast said it's going to rain, and so I thought, oh well, it's going to be warm for a while, so I'll just cut the grass and then it'll rain on it. And then it did not rain. I cut the grass, it did not rain, and it then did not rain for like a month, and all of the grass died. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to make that mistake again. So I just didn't cut the grass for the entirety of the summer. And it mostly, it mostly survived. So I'm just saying, it could be worse. The clouds love you and wish to water you. History professor, but what the effects were in Sweden? There are no documents from that era. I don't know what that. Anyway. No Bing. Success. How's Nemo doing? He's doing well. I found all 3 cats lying on the same bed today, and when I suggested that they might want to move so that I could change the sheets, they all stared at me with identical looks of derision. So they're getting on pretty well, which is nice. I didn't think grass could die. Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is cut it and then have it be hot for a few days and it will just go brown. It comes back, once it starts raining again. But, it's you shouldn't cut your grass too short. So now you know, because otherwise bad things will happen to it. Though in that summer, we were in Kent and it didn't rain a lot. We got a thing through the door from Southern Water. I don't know. I think it was Southern Water was our. It makes sense. It is in the south, but they were like, yes, don't worry. Yeah, your grass will. They basically said, yes, your grass will die, but don't worry, it will come back. But please don't try and keep your lawn nice by watering it. Just give up. Just give up on the lawn. Okay. Then again, Southern Water were also. Whichever the ones were that we had, which might have been Southern Water, were also the ones who they found they were dumping loads of sewage into the ocean. Which probably explains why there was a day that we went to the beach. And mostly when you go to the beach, things proceed kind of normally. But on that day, they ended up having the red flags up because there were there were dead jellyfish on the beach. The water was a weird color. Everything was not looking good. And I said this to my husband after we came home, and he was like, yeah, that was probably the storm that, kicking up all of the sewage that the water company dumped into the ocean. Anyway, hope you had a good time regardless. We did make some sandcastles, so it's all good. Did you stab your YouTube leg? Yes, multiple times. Thank you, Katie, for the super chat. That's very kind. Somebody else gave me a super chat, and I did not say thank you, but I did read it, and I am thankful. So, yes. Watch Jill descend into rage when it starts beeping at the turn of the hour. No, it's not going to do that. It's not going to do that because we have pressed the correct buttons now. I'm sure. But I am going to save this doodad in my favorites. Watch instructions. Yup. Just in case, you know. Even the jellyfish died. Exactly. Letting it go dormant is the best thing to do for your grass in a drought. There you go. Yes, I'm wondering how mine will fare this year because I had to seed a whole bunch in September and it grew up pretty well, but I haven't obviously cut it yet because it's, then it was the autumn and then it was the winter. So we'll see how it goes. Gardening, just what you wanted to talk about on this live stream. There's a little plus button down in the bottom here and it says, do you want to start a poll? Yeah, I do. Okay. Okay. There we go. We're starting a poll to see what that does. There we go. Exciting. There should be more sci-fi stories about dealing with benign but annoying technologies whose user manuals have been lost to time. I mean, to be fair, that's basically what Bren is. that is possibly a significant component of Just Space Me Now. To be fair, that there is, we have not specifically referenced the manual, and so maybe there just isn't a manual, or it's all in a really strange, like in a language that Bren does not speak, and so on and so forth. Anyway, right, we have people have voted about cheese, and you are overwhelmingly in favor of it. So that's good to know. Those of you who don't like it, you can always give your share to the people who do, and everyone will be thrilled, I'm sure. There's some big lag on this video. Yeah. I can't seem... I can't even tell you how far behind I think I am, because I can see myself talking on the screen, but I don't know if that's even the most up-to-date me, as it were, because it would let me skip forward, but I don't know if that's a thing. Anyway, all right, we are going to end the poll because why not? Gardening and children's watches, excellent topics. Why not? Have you ever tried archery? Yes, but some time ago. I did enjoy it though. It's pretty fun. Oh no, right. Manual exists in a no longer supported file format. Yes, that's, yeah. I have a Casio G-Shock and you need a microscope to read the manual. Fantastic. Take my cheese, you disgusting cheese lovers. Indeed. What is your favorite aspect of world building? Literally the next episode, the only episode of season 2, as it were, that I have managed to write is entitled, in all caps, I hate world building. Because it is about Caroline trying to work out how money works in Bren's universe. Because you can have, so she just bought a spaceship. And they have, obviously they have the banking kiosks where the acronym is bank. But they don't have faster than light communication between planets. And therefore you can't, it's not like you go to a different country and you'd know how much money you have in your bank account. So it has to be that you carry your money on your person in some sense, because you obviously wouldn't have a bank account in every place that you go to because you can't update your balance quickly enough. The opportunities for check fraud or whatever the sci-fi equivalent is would just be monumental. So eventually I figured out that what you have is that you have you essentially carry your cash on your person digitally. So Bren has wrist chips, and so she has one which is her current account, and the other wrist is her savings account, but the savings account is time locked. So you put money into your savings account, you can do that anytime you like, but to get it out, you have to wait 3 days or something like that, so that people can't just rob you at any given moment. But yes, it's it's genuinely called I Hate World Building, and I do so much. I hate it so much. Um, ah, though I suppose I do like coming up with slightly stupid names for things. So Birth Bus and Beyond was a particular favorite. So there we go. I like coming up with names for things. Um, what is your? If you hold your watch up to the camera, then you can see the delay. That's true. That's true. Uh, World building is my favorite part of writing. It's better than the writing part. I mean, that's fair. I know many people who feel like this. And to you, I say, that is wonderful. And I'm very happy for you. I mean, I don't particularly like the writing part either, but I hate the world building more. um, the markets must be so wild if money doesn't transfer from planet to planet. I mean, yeah, but so I was thinking, how would you do it otherwise? And so I thought, what is my sort of anchor point of sci-fi whatever here? And obviously it's the Vorkosigan saga because that's the thing I read most recently. And every planet has different currencies. So, you know, but it makes sense in Bren's universe, at least, that there is a currency, but you're basically back to the equivalent of physical currency, or rather, you're back to here is my prepaid Visa card, but it's on my body. Did you ever see the 1973 Three Musketeers? No, I feel like I've seen the first 20 minutes of it because a friend of mine said, "Oh, you have to watch these here," and I watched it and was like, eh. Where do you sit on Wensleydale cheese with Christmas cake? Well, I mean, I don't like Christmas cake, and therefore, I think that you should do whatever you like with the Christmas cake. I would die for Steve. YouTube. I have so many problems with ACH. I don't know what that means. Because banks want to act like it's still 1975, it takes up to 5 days for my available balance to update. Yeah, I feel you. When we lived in Germany, it was very much like this. Sort of like everything had to be a physical piece of paper. And when we left, thank you for the super chat, by the way. And when we left, what we were given, we were sent the entire history we were there for 2 years, and they sent us the entire account history on paper. And it turned out that this was actually quite helpful because when we wanted to get a mortgage in the UK, they were like, well, where has, you came and there was a large amount of money, relatively speaking. There was a large amount of money and it was, you just transferred it into your account and now you have this money. Where did it come from? We were like, oh, well, here's 2 years of bank statements from Germany. That's where it came from. Hooray! Going to UK in October. Where are your favorite places? I don't. Oh no. Yes, that's always a bad question to ask. I mean, I guess it depends whereabouts you're going. I assume you're flying into London because that's sort of most things fly into London. I really like the Peak District and the Lake District. The Peak District is hillier. The Lake District is wetter, obviously. But there are lots of very beautiful places. Cornwall is beautiful if you like the coast and surfing. Kent is very beautiful. You've got like the White Cliffs of Dover. Kent is reasonably flat also, so you have lots of nice countryside, but it's not too hilly. Whereas if you go to the Peak District, it's like, I hope you like hills. So they do look very nice, but whatever. I don't know. Other people can suggest things because I am bad at them. Canterbury is very nice. Canterbury Cathedral is lovely. Cathedrals in general are usually a pretty good bet. They've got all kinds of cool stuff in them, and there's usually some kind of volunteer guide who can tell you a bunch of things about them. The Natural History Museum is pretty fun, but you do have to book in advance. Mind you, in October, I suppose it wouldn't be quite as busy as like in the summer or something like that. That one's in London. Yes. Please leave suggestions for me and my tea. Great name. In the comments. Right. World building can attract more nitpicking to annoy you and your fans. This points on small inconsistencies that hardly matter. I mean, yes, yes, I don't. I prefer vibes-based world building, really. Like, I have read some of Brandon Sanderson's books, but his incredibly complicated magic systems are not necessarily something that appeals. It's like, yes, well, this is very logical. That's nice. I'm very happy for you. But you know, I am here for the people doing things, and you have provided me with an interesting backdrop in which the people can do the things. But nah. Like, I read one of the Stormlight Archive books, which went much better than me trying the audiobook, because the guy in the audiobook reads incredibly slowly, and quite a lot of the start of the book is just Kaladin being understandably super depressed, which is not very fun. But having read, I think, the first book, or maybe the first two, I was like, yeah, that was fine. I don't really care what happens next. I felt the same way about Wheel of Time. I read the first Wheel of Time book and said, I had a moderately good time reading that. That was enjoyable. I have no desire to find out what happens next. Mind you, that's still better than the Wheel of Time TV series, where I watched like one episode and went, I did not enjoy that and have no desire to find out what happens next. But I did eventually watch the part of the, I don't know, episode 6 or 9 or something, where Rand's mother beats a bunch of people up. That was pretty fun, but doesn't really necessarily relate to anything else, so hey-ho. Star Trek method. Money doesn't exist because we are so enlightened. Sci-fi money is hard. It is. The equivalent of highwaymen holding up the coaches carrying company payrolls between planets. Automated check. Okay. When you use your bank account and routing number for a transaction instead of using a debit card. Interesting. Never heard of that. Like Swift, I've heard of. And, you know, having to have an IBAN number and whatever, but I've never heard of that one. So, no, I know. London and Edinburgh. Oh, fun. Yes, we definitely have some Scottish people here. They can probably tell you things to see in Edinburgh. I've never been to Edinburgh, but I hear it's nice. Where in Germany did you live? Oldenburg. So, I mean, I don't have to tell you this because if you're asking, you probably know Germany. But up in the northwest near Bremen, is where Oldenburg is. It is extremely flat, and they have a lot of cycle paths, which was great, because we didn't have a car. Though we did at one point hire a van to go to IKEA to get our kitchen, which is probably the most German thing I ever did. Yeah. Luckily, we had some German friends who had a jigsaw, and were also very good at putting things together, so they helped us to assemble our kitchen with the correct tools, and, you know, like cut a hole in the work surface for the sink, because otherwise we would have been absolutely stuffed. And then when we left Germany, we sold our kitchen, like all of the hardware that we had bought, to a bunch of students who rocked up in like a Peugeot 206 or something, and proceeded to just like disassemble it all and put it in their car. It was an experience. It was an experience. Anyway, I like creature making, but there's a lot of surface level of world building and people only realize when it's missing. Like your brain only notices your nose is in view when it's pointed out. Sky is awesome. Okay. In October, maybe stay in London and go to lots of museums. You might be lucky with the weather, theoretically. I figured out the watch alarm beep thingy. Is it still unresolved? No, it is resolved. We resolved it with the power of looking on the back of the watch for the name of the company, and then Googling the thing, which frankly I should have thought of. But you know, I think I just try and use YouTube videos to solve my problems too often. And so I had not got around to, why don't you just Google the actual name of the company? Because I think I tried to do it before and nothing, I couldn't come up with anything, but possibly that's because I spelled the name wrong because I'm bad at reading. Who knows? I visited the Cat Cafe in Canterbury back in January. It was charming. I have been to the Cat Cafe in Canterbury and can recommend it. They do, in fact, have real milk, which I was, like the kind that comes from cows, because I was a bit concerned because we took two, you know, we took Ursa Minor and we took her friend, and we fed them before we went because I looked at the list of things you could buy and went, most of these things are plant-based. Actually, maybe all of these things are plant-based. Is this a vegan cafe? Because I'm not sure that I can buy two children like vegan lunch that they'd actually eat, but we could definitely do vegan hot chocolate. Then it turned out they do, in fact, use regular milk there. I think it is a vegetarian cafe, though, which is fine. But, yes. Be aware. They'll definitely have oat milk, though, and all the other kinds of milk. And they have a lot of Egyptian cats, so the ones with no hair, which are very fun, because when we went, they were all wearing little jumpers, which is adorable. So yes, I can recommend the Cat Cafe. It's very nice. They're also, you want to avoid the dodgy American sweet shops, though. I am not sure what they're a front for, but I feel like they're a front for something, because why would you come to the UK and buy American candy? I'm just saying, I never see anybody in there. We're going to a cat cafe tomorrow for my aunt's birthday. She's 88. Happy birthday to your aunt. I hope you all have a good time, and so do the cats. Have you watched Game of Thrones? No, and I never will, because I think it is like, I watched The Witcher, and honestly, I regret my life choices doing so, because sometimes some of the things from it I still think about occasionally and go, that was really disturbing and disgusting. I mean, it's less bad now because it's been several years, but I had a full-on like nightmare after watching the first episode of The Witcher. And then I did watch the rest of the series, which wasn't as bad, to be fair. Like, they pulled out all of the nightmare fuel stops in the first episode, I feel like. But the second I watched the second season, was like, why did I bother? Really? And then I started trying to play The Witcher 3. And it's not just me, right? The Witcher 3 has like really terrible tutorials. It doesn't actually teach you how to fight with all the things you need to fight with, because it teaches you some stuff in the Witcher keep place, and then you go out and you start fighting wolves and things, and you do a couple of things, and then they hand you a crossbow and are like, here, beat this enormous griffin. And that was as far as I got, because I couldn't beat the griffin. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know how to use the crossbow. Anyway, at some point, maybe, I will return to it. But at the minute, we're sticking with, like, Lego whatever. We have also Spyro the Dragon, because, that one makes me feel less stupid than Crash Bandicoot, because all of the games start easy and then ramp up the difficulty as you go through. So, I feel more like I can actually do those. I always listen to audiobooks at 1.5 speed. Yeah, almost always, I watch YouTube videos on double speed. Sometimes only 1.5 if people speak quickly, but, when I was a kid, I had book 4 of The Wheel of Time, just book 4. Fair enough. I had a lot of psychopaths. Anyway, my phone battery is now at 18%. I wish you a good day and a phone charger that works, because yesterday I tried to plug mine in while I was on a FaceTime call with someone, and we were down to 1%, and it wouldn't like it wouldn't show me the charging icon. It wouldn't go bing, and I was putting it in and then turning around and putting it in again, and it was a bad time. You have a bestiary. You're supposed to use the bestiary all the time to find the weaknesses of the monsters you are hunting. Right. Yes, Spyro is excellent. I have a really good video recommendation for those of you who like Spyro the Dragon. Hang on. Because he is, I think, a relatively small YouTuber, but this video of his did really well because well, I have watched it, and not because I have watched it, but a lot of people ended up watching it compared to the number of subscribers on his channel. But where is it? There we go. I love the Lego game shout out. Yeah, we have when my brother gave me the PS4, he gave me a bunch of games that he had for it. So we have Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I'll come back to that one. The remastered Spyro and the remastered Crash Bandicoot games, and Lego Harry Potter and Lego Star Wars, and I think a couple of other sets of games, but I don't remember. But to come back to Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I played that game. I completed that game. Like, I played it obsessively. It was the last Grand Theft Auto game I really played because I think what happened was then I went to university and so was not coming, did not have access to the appropriate level of PlayStation. But I decided when everybody else was out of the house, I thought, what could I do? Let's play a game on let's play a game. Let's play Grand Theft Auto. And half an hour of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and I thought, I don't want to play this game. I don't like any of these people. They're all horrible. Which, I mean, this is not news if you've played the Grand Theft Auto series, but I was like, I just can't be having with any of you people right now. No, I'm gonna go do something else, and so I did. Yep. Wake up at 2:45 and you're online. Yes, indeed. We're doing things here. Lego City Undercover. Oh, all right. Have I missed cat cameos? No, they're all downstairs at the minute. Hopefully not doing anything destructive. I'm hoping they're not doing anything destructive. I can't hear anything bad happening, so it's all fine. Anyway, but, we have managed to turn off the beeping on my daughter's watch, which is wonderful because I've been trying to do it for like 3 days, 2 days, 3 days. I don't know. It's all blurring into one at this point. And so she'll be quite happy about that. And so will I, because it means she can actually wear it and then we'll know what the time is, which is a useful thing. I've also been learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube because Ursa Minor wanted a speed cube for her birthday. And so that was in fact acquired. And I'd never really used Rubik's Cubes at all before because, I mean, it's you just look at it and go, but how do thing? And so naturally I looked up a YouTube video about it, and it went, here are all of the steps that you need to do in order, not how to speed solve it, but how to solve it in the sort of easiest possible way. So you, for those of you unfamiliar with Rubik's Cubes, the middle colors on the a 3x3 cube are always in the same place. You can't move them relative to each other, if you see what I mean. You can move them relative to each other. The middle ones don't move as much as all of the other ones, obviously. And so you start by getting all of the white ones to form a daisy around the yellow circle or something like that. And then you turn them around and then you do something else. And so you have to learn algorithms. And this apparently puts people off because the word algorithm is used, but it's basically just a way of moving the cube. Usually it's like you have to do 4 or 6 or 8 things in a row. And now I know how to do it. And it's wonderful. I'm like, wow. I do still need to look up. I'm like, I need to do this algorithm. I've forgotten how it goes again, but I messed it up so many times, and then my daughter went, you have to do that part twice. Like, oh. And every single time I'd done that particular algorithm, I think it's a Soon. There's a part where you have to rotate the top twice, and I'd only been doing it once, and so I was just messing everything up. And then it actually worked, and we solved it, and it was wonderful. Anyway, 10 out of 10 recommends for making you feel smart after several days of making you feel really dumb, to be fair. um, have you tried Lego Horizon? No, I don't think I have. A company is remastering Vice City and it's been in the works or development hell for years now. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that would be a good thing because I think it is a good game. I no longer find it entertaining. Just like, all of you are terrible people. Please go away. What are your thoughts on co-writing books? Personally, I don't think I'd do it because I think probably I'm too much of a mood writer, and things go in. I can't outline, or at least when I outline, it never goes quite the way I think it's going to. And so I feel like that would be quite a frustrating experience for someone that I was trying to co-write with. In general, like I think I have seen a lot of like romance authors who are actually two people, and it does. I mean, it helps you, put out books faster, which is quite important if you're a self-publishing person. And it is good to have a second set of eyes on things sometimes. So, personally, probably wouldn't do it. In general, think it's probably quite nice. I mean, the only Neil Gaiman book I really like is Good Omens. And that's the collaboration he did with Terry Pratchett. And I was thinking about this recently because when I said Ever After, give me movies that are like Ever After in kind of tone, and a load of people said Stardust. And when I originally did a video on Stardust, well, first of all, I called Tristan, the main character, Mayonnaise McWhitebread, because I was like, he's just kind of there. And I know that he's meant to be the normal guy in a fantastical world, but I feel like he's just kind of there. And I couldn't make up my mind if I liked the book of Stardust or the film better. But having at the time, but then having reflected on it further, I feel like I like the film better because it has a more satisfying ending, and it's also less cynical. Because I feel like a lot of Gaiman stuff is underneath it, it's quite cynical. And also, American Gods is really boring. I'm sorry to people who like American Gods, but I got like 2 chapters in and went, I hate all of these people and nothing is happening. What am I doing? Let's go read something else. That being said, before all of the Neil Gaiman stuff happened, I was still like not a particular fan back when that was like everyone loves Coraline. I've never actually read Coraline, but I read his The Problem of Susan, and went, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. This is gross and icky, and it makes me feel like, one, you don't understand. It feels like fan fiction, but fan fiction written by someone who hates the source material, and that's just weird. Why would you write fan fiction if you hate the source material? I mean, especially as someone who already writes your own original stuff. I have seen lots of people write fan fiction where they clearly loathe the source material, because I didn't get on the internet yesterday, but still, I have a Rubik's Cube from 20 years ago and I still haven't solved it. You know what? Happens. I did the worst thing. I moved the stickers. Yeah, you might just have made it not possible to solve. Sandman comics I have never read, but I have heard that they are good. I think the Stardust book versus film is kind of like Howl's Moving Castle versus film. Okay, interesting. You can read the Silmarillion instead. Yeah, my Ursa Minor has recently requested that I read her The Hobbit again. The Hobbit is really, really long. We don't even get through a chapter a night. We get through like a third of a chapter, like half a chapter. Anyway. The Moat in God's Eye is considered one of the best first contact novels ever written. Good to know. I think we have that. I think it's somewhere on my bookshelves. Um, like, I don't think that I purchased it or have ever read it, but I'm pretty sure that we have it somewhere. Possibly it's an ebook. Was it a Baen book? Because then it might have been a free library, Baen free library book, and we have it as an ebook. We'll find out. Anyway. Speaking of co-written novels, some really good ones which are sci-fi are by Ryk Spurr, you spell it like R-Y-K, and Eric Flint, who you are more likely to have heard of. And they are called Boundary, Threshold, and Portal. And they have space and paleontology, which is such a weird combination, and they are kind of harder sci-fi, so if you are not really into that, there are some like paragraphs that you will probably end up skimming. I know I did, but you know, they have really fun characters and who they like, and it's nice. But yes, paleontology and space travel. It's super fun. And it's set in like the near future as well, so I do recommend those. Riff terrible fanfiction for fun. There are so many with the premise of the canon got X wrong, so I'm going to fix it. I mean, that can be really interesting, but I think there's Lego Lord of the Rings. Oh, okay, yeah. Never seen someone so despondent about reading The Hobbit. I have now read the entirety of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I was like, okay, see, I now get much better than when I attempted it as a teenager. Excuse me. I know you understand why people like it, but you basically just have to be there for the vibes, because things happen, but they don't really happen like fast. And so, you know, I feel like I would enjoy reading The Hobbit more if I was able to read it to myself rather than having to read it out loud, because, you know, it goes on a bit. I think we're gonna have to stop soon because I'm starting to cough and I'm running out of water. But anyway, we've gone for like a whole hour and the internet hasn't died on us once, so like we are winning at life, and we got the beep turned off on the watch. Which was not something I was anticipating being able to finish today, but I'll take it. Moat in God's Eye is published by Simon & Schuster. Okay, we probably have it as a paper book then. Have you watched The Knight of the Seven Realms? Nope, I have well, until I saw it written on my YouTube comments like today or yesterday, I've never even heard of it. My favorite fanfic is the Firefly Doctor Who fic Man with No Name, 10 out of 10 writing. 2 wins in 1. Very successful stream. I like to think so, yes. I was gonna say something. Hold on. I remember being recommended the Portal 2 fanfiction, Blue Sky, with the immortal phrase, yes, it's like a shell. I don't know. Anyway, her and Wheatley sort of slightly like a romance, but hear me out, basically, was how that went. And I was like, just give it a go. And I went, okay, you weirdo. And then I tried it, and it is in fact really fun. So there we go. What can I say? Every time I talk about fanfic, people go, have you ever read Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality? And I'm like, yeah, I read, I don't know, like a chapter or 2 of it, and was like, this is boring. And I don't like it. So I'm going to stop reading it now. And this seems to be, it seems to be a bit like Marmite. The people who love it are like, yes, it is the bestest fanfic in the entirety of the world. And the people who are not in that camp are like, whatever you like, I guess. Sure, yeah. You do you, as it were. What's the worst fanfic you've read? Is it the Neil Gaiman one? I mean, the Neil Gaiman one has the advantage of being like, or rather disadvantage, I guess, of being sort of gross and disturbing, but it is at least correctly spelled and punctuated. So, you know, there's that. But I guess it might be the worst one that I've read in its entirety, because other ones, if they start bad, I tend to bail early. Mind you, mind you, I did once read like 6 chapters of a Rey Kylo Ren fanfic where they were, and I had to read it because I saw this thing in the thing on AO3, and it was like, they're both YouTubers and they go to VidCon, and I was like, no, I have to know, I have to know. And so it's, yeah, it's not like particularly amazing, but we were cracking on through it. And doing all of the things, and they arrive at VidCon, and so I'm texting one of my friends who is a YouTuber, like, "Hey, I'm reading a Rey Kylo Ren fanfiction where they're at this party at VidCon, and then I describe the circumstances of the party, and my friend went, "What year was this published?" And so I told him, and he said, "I know which VidCon this person is basing all of this on. I was at that party." Like, that's super weird. Anyway, I only managed to make it like 2 chapters in, 2 chapters more into it before I was like, I don't care enough to finish this. But I was entertained by the premise, so there's that. Have a good day, Bill. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Commerce. That's a great title. I don't know if we have the Chamber of Commerce in the UK. I mean, maybe we do, and I'm confusing it with something else. Okay, Chamber of Commerce, that's the US Chamber of Commerce. Do we have the Chamber of Commerce? British Chambers of Commerce. I guess we do, sort of. It sounds amazingly awful. Well, yes, but amazingly awful is sometimes what you end up guessing when you go looking for fanfic. Method of rationality gets a bit better once it gets into the story and away from calling everything dumb, so I hear. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Maybe that's why people like it, but yeah. I feel like, so one of the subreddits that I occasionally lurk upon, because I don't know, I live vicariously through them, is r/pub tips. And r/pub tips is a very specific subreddit for people who wish to be traditionally published. And what they are generally doing on pub tips, aside from talking about the state of the industry, generally American focused, is they are putting on their they're putting up as a post their letter which they're trying to send to prospective agents to shop around their usually fiction, sometimes non-fiction book. The non-fiction ones tend to be more hilarious because you tend to get people who are not going to be on the cover of Sanity Fair, let's put it like that, right? But even so, you get people going, here is, you know, let me present to you my novel. Here's how many words it is, this is the genre, this is the things it is like, and sometimes you get their first 300 words. And I thought to myself, if you did the first 300 words of my novel, then I don't feel like that's not really... You don't get into the Caroline and Rosamund dynamic quickly enough for that to sort of work. So it goes entirely on the basis of, oh, it's a sort of generic sounding fantasy story. So you'd have to lean really hard on the fact that you get to write them a letter where you say, hey, it's actually a meta story with like 2 parallel storylines. But anyway, I can't remember why I was talking about pub tips, but never mind. It is, if you wish to be traditionally published, it is a really good subreddit to check out. But I would advise that you lurk a lot before you post anything, because, well, it's got to the point that I think I can probably now give reasonable critiques of letters that people might want to send to their agents. Not as good as the subreddit, obviously, but I'd be like, hey, this comparator is not good, and I don't understand what your plot summary means. And no, you have to give a plot summary. You have to tell them the twist and what happens, because you're not being specific enough. Anyway. Oh yeah, it was about the first 300 words. Like, if you only read the first 300 words, are you going to get an accurate picture of what the thing is like? And the answer is no, sometimes not, but you can at least get a feel for whether the author can construct sentences. So there's that. Reddit is an interesting place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. I mean, fair. I do not have a Reddit account because I already waste enough time on the internet. And so, you know, probably should not. There is an r/sword lady subreddit, which is about this YouTube channel and related things, if you are interested. But I do not run it. It is run by a very nice chap, who may or may not be inundated with new people if I tell you about it. But hang on, I don't actually know how many people are watching this stream right now, so maybe there will not be too many of you, because maybe most of you are not really of the Reddit variety. I mean, currently there are only 146 of you watching, so that's at most going to be like 10 new people. That'll be fine. The cover of Sanity Fair, incidentally, is stolen straight from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It was one of my favorite lines. 300 words seems incredibly short to get into a story. It is. I mean, I think that the basis of the 300 words is that you already know what the story is about because you have been provided with a summary of it. That's basically just to tell you, the first 300 words is basically just to tell you, can they format things correctly and can they write English sentences which don't sound terrible? Because if you read the first 300 words and it's obviously littered with like spelling and grammar and all of these, you know, errors, and it's just really boring and flat, then you know, yeah, maybe don't bother with that one. But then if you go, yes, this is competently written, then you can just request the rest of the manuscript and then you can read the whole thing if you want to. Have you had agents approach you asking to be your agent? Oh no. Something went wrong. Connect your encoder. What do you mean connect my encoder? It's already connected. Okay, there we go. We're back. Yay! Sorry, the question that I was going to answer was, hopefully we're back now, have you had agents approach you asking to be your agent? And the answer is yes. But I was not... I had someone from a publisher reach out, and I had a couple of people from agencies reach out, and so I talked to both of those. I talked to, I don't know, 3 or 4, 5 different people. But either it was a sort of, none of it made me really wild to like explore traditional publishing in more detail. Like, self-publishing is really, really, really difficult. But on the other hand, the main bonus of traditional publishing is, aside from getting people to do things like your cover and stuff for you, is like marketing. And kind of already had that covered. So I was like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do and see how that goes. Okay, well, at least we now know that if it dies, then it comes back. So that is a good thing. And we got through more than an hour, which is great, without the stream crashing, because last time I did a Patreon live stream, we got like 40 minutes in and it just went, so that was not great. So I think we can definitely declare the new internet a resounding success. And I'm like, I'm pretty happy about that. Is Just Space Marine on hold? I mean, if effectively, yes. I have one more script, which I will be filming and putting up for patrons in the next couple of weeks. But beyond that, I have no more scripts. And so I need to write more of those. And I have been, you know, considering what they should be since December and have so far come up with 1 2-minute video. So here we are. Do love a successful internet. Anyway, since the stream has an insane amount of lag on it, I'm now going to hang around for like 20 more seconds because a couple of people asked that question. And I feel like I should wait and make sure that they got to hear the answer to the question, because we're on a serious kind of lag. Although apparently I am streaming in 720p. According to one of the nice people in chat, I'm streaming in 720p, which seems quite a lot. So maybe that is why the lag is so bad. Still, congratulations to us. We did various things, and look, here's my watch, which says that it is 4:11, and I'm going to go and get the dinner ready. Because Ursa Minor is not in fact here for dinner this evening, and so I'm taking shameless advantage of this by having food that would make her go, you know. So we're having like a chicken pesto pasta thing, which is magically delicious, but that she doesn't like. So I'm gonna go make that now. And oh yeah, I have that to do as well. I also have to do some baking. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you for coming and being in the place and doing the things, and also helping me with the watch. Yay! It doesn't beep. Huzzah! Says, interesting. The lag is on the chat. Good to know. All right. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for participating as my guinea pigs, and I will see you all soon.